Hello, and welcome back to the Tea and Soju Cdrama podcast, your safe spot for Cdrama chatter. I'm your host, Liliana, and it's time to sit back, grab your tea, and let's chat Asian dramas. In today's episode, we are coming to you with the second half of the First Frost review. I am still joined by Laura and Becky, and just before we get into the episode, just some housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe on the platform you listen on. That really helps the podcast reach other listeners. For more content, check out Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes, first impressions, movie reviews, and more. Finally, if you would like to chat to me or find a community, please check out Discord, Instagram, and other socials. The link is in the episode notes. So, guys, just say hello again. Because for us, it has not been any time at all, but for listeners, the whole week would have gone by. So just go ahead and say a quick hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Right, guys, I think we need to explain that we have been recording for, I don't know, I've lost
Wait,
the
2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6,
5 hours. 5 hours. Yeah.
5 hours
a 10-minute break
at this point. We kind of sat and just chatted for 2 of those hours, and then the other 2 we recorded part 1, and then we had a little break, and now we're back to record part 2. So it's currently 20 past midnight in the UK. It's not quite as late for Becky, who's in the States. So, and we also have been, Becky's on the wine, Laura and I are on the soju. I think we need to make that clear.
I'm
Not
on
that-
the wine.
On the wine. Have you never heard this?
That's a very
That
British
expression
It
in my
is.
life.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing a mini me just like on a bottle of wine like a horse, like like a weird like what? Okay.
No,
That's
honestly,
Yeah.
it's a saying. People will be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I think I got it from this TikToker who have you seen Fadan, like the Australian TikToker? Have you come across her on your
No.
FYP? So
Mhm.
she's hilarious. But one of her many lines is, "I'm on the reds tonight," as in I'm drinking red wine tonight.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
So
Okay.
I feel like, yeah. So that's what we've been doing. We obviously haven't been drinking for 5 hours straight
No.
because that would have been very problematic. at
I
this
still have
point.
more than half of a bottle of soju left. There's
I
loads
yeah,
left. I'm fine.
I have like pretty much a whole bottle left.
Yeah.
We're taking little sips here and there. We've just been having fun. And yeah, so in the previous episode, we talked about some of our non-spoiler thoughts, and we also did everything from episode 1 till episode 10. So I'm not sure we're going to be going through every episode for this one yet. We'll see how it goes. So we are doing, I just think it's fun to like do the titles because we sort of discovered that Netflix doesn't seem to translate the titles for the episodes, and the titles do very much go hand in hand with what the episode is about and what's happening in the episode. So for episode 11, the title is also quick reminder, we're going straight into spoilers, guys. So if you haven't listened to part 1, if it isn't obvious, this is very much a spoiler episode. So if you don't like spoilers, go watch the drama and then come back. If you haven't listened to last week's episode, go listen to that and then listen to this one. It'll make much more sense. So episode 11 is titled Take Care of Yourself, I'm Always Here. Guys, episode 11, we get Duan Jiashu come back, and I will say, I just really wanted to see Chen Zuyan. I was like, I really just want to see our Duan Jiashu from Hidden Love. But what did you guys think of like this little cameo? Because we don't really see a lot of him. It's like, he comes in, he's in a bathrobe, and our female Yi fan thinks Sang Yan might be gay. So that was a whole thing that happened in this episode.
I forgot about that actually.
Yeah.
Like I remember because okay, so actually wait, here's the thing, because didn't they have a rule about having people in the apartment. So there
Mm-hmm.
was the one thing, because like anytime she used to have someone in the apartment, she's supposed to let him know, vice versa. And so she
Yeah.
just comes home one day and he's just has this man in a bathrobe in the apartment. But like she's like, she just doesn't, it's interesting because
Mm-hmm.
she's not threatened by it, but she is like,
No,
oh, so he's a little okay, like, all right. Like she's a little confused. But
she is.
it was it kind of shows though how close they are as friends. Like, they're
Mm.
very close, and that's nice that we did get to see like a glimpse into like their friendship also with the flashbacks.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
although I think in the little that we see of their friendship in this one, I don't think these two actors have got the same chemistry as like Chen Ji-wan and
And
Victor
Victor Ma.
Ma. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's cute. I think this one Jishu's cute. I like him, but I don't think they've got the same
The
dynamic.
friendship chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I also just think it's probably because they didn't work. I mean, Victor
Yeah.
Ma and Chen Zuyan worked for a really long time together because they did a lot of scenes together. Whereas these two, they like he was barely in it, barely,
Hmm.
barely, barely in it. So that was, a little interesting. And then the only thing from this one that I have down is that he goes and picks her up at the airport and he says, "Oh, I was just casually dropping someone off, so I thought I'd pick you up." And then in like the post episode scene, we see that he makes
He
Jiashu
forces them to go.
leave early. so that
So
I'm like,
good.
oh god, you are being such a bully. And I'm like, this is absolutely Sangyan from Hidden Love. He's such a freaking bully sometimes. So yeah. Episode 12 is named How to Be Happy Staying With You, which I think is adorable. And for episode 12, I really don't have very much at all. I just have the scene that I think is a very notable scene because I feel like it's a really, 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 really big place, big step for Yifan is she pretends she's sleepwalking and she sees how he takes care of her. Plus, she hugs him even though she's not sleepwalking. So I loved that scene. I love that scene because she gets to see what actually happens. What did you guys think about that one?
Well, do you know, there's actually a really nice it kind of in the book, right? It sort of expands on this moment, right? But she sort of understand why she's had a wee bit to drink that night, so that she's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like her inhibitions are lowered anyway. But also in the lead up to this moment happening in the book, she's like thinking a lot about like their kind of parting when they were younger and how
Mm-hmm.
she's starting to feel quite guilty about how she really broke his heart and all that stuff. And then in the book, she talks in this moment where she hugs him and she's not really sleeping. She's it says that basically she's overcome in that moment with all those feelings of what she did to him back then and how back
Mm-hmm.
then she like had to hold herself back from running to him and embracing him and doing all the things she wanted to do, but she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't. And in that moment, she just is overwhelmed by the urge to just
Hug him. Yeah.
act that out, and if
Yeah.
like feel give him that, even if it's just in her mind, it's almost like an apology. So it's like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
reading the book added that wee extra. It was already lovely, but added that wee extra layer to that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It
which I
was.
thought was
Yeah.
cute. Also, though, when she then goes back to her room, is it that bit? And she's all like giggly on her bed because she's like, I can't believe I've just done that. And then is it
Yeah.
that bit where she's like petting, he's like on the bed with her
Oh
and
my
she's petting
God.
him, but then it's the
That
cat.
Oh,
scene.
yes.
I was like, what is going
I was
on?
like, this is kind of
Is a
weird. What?
dream. This is a dream. She's just having a good time. She's drunk. But
That was so
leading
weird.
leading up to her decision to pretend to sleepwalk, her just like, oh my goodness, being like drunk and like grabbing him like when she fell and like
Oh
Oh, she
my
the
nearly had
God,
his shirt
tension,
yes,
off
in
in the
the
elevator.
elevator.
the
Yes.
tension and him just trying to like same thing. Like it's not sleepwalking, but she's drunk. She's not in her right mind. Chill out,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
calm
yeah.
down. You can see him like literally he's stressing because he's like, this is so much close contact and I don't. But oh my gosh, that hug was definitely so significant with her, just like kind of like what you said, Laura, like kind of like this would be her going back and giving that hug she never had the chance to do in that moment. And so I thought it was a really beautiful scene with that.
Hmm.
She's also a really cute drunk because she's
Yeah.
like more open. You see
Yes,
that
I
she's,
agree.
you know, she's more open and she's really sweet. Also, he makes her honey water like her dad did.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I did. That is very
Yeah.
adorable. That is very,
Hmm.
very adorable. So for episode 13, the title of this episode is We Made a Promise, I Want to Be With You. Um, so I love that title again. I loved that in this episode, she shows her quiet strength when she stands up to the boss when rumors are going around that she's like a
Oh, yeah.
mistress.
Hmm.
um Loved that scene because Yi Fan in general is not a confrontational type of person, but she's also not in nowadays in like her older, like in her stage of life that she is now. She's also not a walking mat. And
No.
I really like that, this decision of hers because it kind of shows that quiet strength that I think she has, and that she's becoming stronger and stronger for it. So yeah, I really, really liked that one. And then I loved the scene where Sang-zi basically just tells Yifan how extremely upset Sang-yan was after she broke up with him and she went to Yi He instead of Nanwu. And like Yi Fan just crying, listening to like Sang-zi telling this story of how sad he was. Like he was not himself. He was so like Sang-zi is just saying he wasn't my brother. I don't know. So yeah, I that's kind of like the notes I have for episode 13 really. What did you guys think?
I've got the we get a wee bit more of like Sue Hoan's backstory. We find out about like what
Oh
happened to
yeah.
his like parents and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I think
Mm-hmm.
like filled in a few blanks for him.
Yeah.
And then also I've moaned about the mum again. And then
I've moaned about the mum again. I love this.
and then she sleepwalks into his room again.
Oh, she does. She does. She
That
sleepwalks into his
scene
bed.
Into
was
his bed, yeah.
the morning
Yes.
after is hilarious. Is
Yes.
hilarious because she's literally like, it was a dream. Go back to sleep, like trying
Yeah,
to leave the room. And he's having none
I
of
have
it.
that.
Like he's literally just like, what do you mean? But oh my goodness, that was a really
Because she sleepwalks into his room, right? And then she
Mhm.
gets comfy and she wakes up. And that's how episode 13 ends. And
Hmm.
then, like, episode 14 picks right back up. And episode 14 is titled Can't Let Go of My Feelings for You. And episode 14, I have written down her waking up in his bed after sleepwalking there. When you fun, why are you here? Explain yourself. You're
You're
asleep,
dreaming.
still
You're
dreaming.
asleep.
And he's like, how stupid do you think I am? Or something he says to her. He's like,
And I'm like, this is hilarious. This scene is just so, so funny. I loved that whole scene and I like how it played out. And then I have for episode 14, I really like that we got more of the second couple in this episode, her helping him find his grandpa and talking to like about his dead parents and everything. So that's what Laura was talking about. And then I also have loved that Sangyan showed Yifan more some vulnerability. So this is when she walks again into his bed, right? So it's the next night, and she walks into his bed again, and he's away. He's not there. And then he comes back and he's like going into his bedroom to get ready for sleep, and she's just there. And he says, don't pay attention to other men while
yeah.
almost taking
It
advantage
was
of
so
me.
cute. He says
Yeah.
like something about like what does he say? Says like I've written it down. Hold on. he says, "Don't hang out with other men while you're making me your little pushover who lets you get handsy."
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. And this is also quite an important moment because she realizes that when the intern, so the character that makes no sense for being in this drama, let's put it
I
that way.
call him
Um,
annoying boy.
Yes, when the intern touches her, she was like feeling, very uncomfortable, which is what she tends to feel when men touch her. But when Sangyan touches her, she's fine. She doesn't have a problem with it. So it's her starting to realize that aspect of it. And yeah, I really, 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 really liked that one, I think.
Can
Yeah.
can we also talk about the moment where it's after she's woken up in his bed and then she's all uncomfortable and then she's trying to escape, she's trying to get out of the apartment without having to talk to him about it. And then he catches her at the bathroom door and he's just like after washing
Mm.
himself or whatever. And then he does this like lean against the door frame that is like
Oh my
right out of a
God,
book.
the classic
Oh.
book clean, the classic book clean where male leads tower over female
Mhm.
leads. It's yeah, yeah, yeah. And they have a really nice height, like little height difference as well. So it makes that is like a classic trope in any like book in general
What did he
that
say
has
to her
romance.
then? Like when he was doing that? Was he just like, hey?
I
Like
think he's like basically saying to her, like she's saying like I need to get to work and he's like, no, you need to explain yourself. It's like all
Yeah, yeah.
that.
I
And
think
then
he
she's
still
like,
wants an explanation.
yeah, yeah.
I want to talk about Annoying Boy just for a second, just to make
Go for
sure
it.
we talk about this scene. Although I don't know if it was before or after, but do you remember when he showed up at her apartment? Oh, actually, I think, wait, hold on. That is episode 15. I'll talk about it. Well, should I talk about it now or just after?
Yeah, we can move on to episode
All right.
15, which is titled Marks Left by Love. So, yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about this annoying
So I was like
guy.
literally watching this and I was like getting so mad because what audacity does this annoying boy have to show up? Like she
Mm.
just mentioned because a lot's going on. She has a lot on her mind. She's considering moving out because she just doesn't really know what to do, right? And so he just gets wind of it, right? That
Oh
she might
yeah,
Hmm.
she
that's
might be
so rude.
looking. Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I've
Uh,
just remembered what you're talking about.
so it
Sorry.
made me so mad. You have no idea because he just gets wind of it, right? Like she doesn't tell him directly. I'm like looking for a roommate. He just shows up
So annoying.
at her apartment and is like,
Oh,
"Oh, so I heard that you're looking for a new roommate, or he might be moving out because you aren't like. So let me just show myself in." And she literally says no. And he's still like,
Hmm.
okay, let's go. Shows up, and that's like another thing in the clause. Like, she's supposed to let him know if they're bringing people over,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So she's like, I don't want to make him upset, but also this guy just shows up and he is just being so pompous for no reason, like acting like she told him that like she's not comfortable living there, like she wants to have a different roommate. And like she's just like, no, I never
Hmm,
said this.
hmm,
This
hmm.
isn't like anything. Like, what is going on? And I love it when she like puts her foot down to be like, you need to leave now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that whole scene made me so mad because where does this guy get off thinking that he can treat her that way, but also just like barge into her life in a way like that? Like, why would she want you as a roommate, dude? Like, she doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I could rant forever about that. That made me so
He's
mad.
such that scene is really annoying, but I really appreciate because that scene could have gone in a way where it creates a lot of misunderstandings between Yifan and Sangyan, but it doesn't happen. Like Yifan, right from the get-go, she even says, "Yeah, Sangyan is special. Like he's different." Uh, so I really appreciated
It's the only good thing
her,
that came
like you
from
said,
it.
yeah, it's the only good thing that came from that scene is her being like, yeah, he's different. I never said I wanted this to happen or anything like that. So I really, really appreciated, you know, that scene. One of the scenes, I think this will be going down as one of the most classic Sangyan lines. that I will probably remember a couple of years down the road, and it's episode 15. And Sangyan turns to her, deadpan, and goes, I know I have a face that makes people want to commit crimes. Are you afraid you'll commit a crime? Do you guys remember
I
this
do.
line?
I do, absolutely. He's just the thing. He's so cocky, but he's also
He's
such
so
a loser at the same time.
cocky.
But like, I love that. Like, I
Exactly.
love that.
But
Oh
the thing
my
is,
gosh.
there is a very fine line between being confident and being like cocky annoying. And he's a little bit of a doofus. So it means that he's not like cocky annoying, but he is confident, right?
Like I think it's like
Yeah.
bravado though. It's like he's
Yeah.
because he's like he is actually deep down like such a nerd about her that
hmm
actually it's
hmm
all just bravado, so that it's actually kind of makes him it kind of, makes him likable.
Yeah,
I
he is
agree.
kind of an adorable,
Hmm.
you know. Bless him. So yeah, I loved that, and I don't really have a lot more for episode 15, so we can move
Well,
on to
I've
episode.
got a couple of things. Can I just add
Okay,
quickly?
And I
Just
have
a
an
couple of things.
unpopular
I'll
opinion after that.
okay,
Oh, okay.
go for it.
Right, really quick, because I think our friend again, she's like a wise old owl. She gives the most
hmm
sage advice to everybody. And then there's another really nice one she says in here about like she says something to her when you find about like should we first learn to love ourselves? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, we totally should. You're
Yes, we
so
should.
wise.
Hmm.
But when Yifan doesn't believe she's worthy of love or care, so she's like, but and she's got loads of those wee wise old owl moments where she says these
hmm
really profound things to everybody around her. And then the other thing I just thought was like, obviously we see a bit of the relationship between Sangyan and his mum in this episode too,
hmm
and his
Oh yeah,
mum's
because she
like,
comes to visit with the
yeah.
girl.
And
Yeah,
his mum is like pushy, but in a loving way. And I feel like you just
yeah.
get to see like a perfect example again of like how I actually just made a TikTok video about this because I'm like just a bit nerdy about all this, but it's like attachment theory, right? Like the Sang siblings are so able to be healthy caregivers because
hmm
they have got such healthy attachments in their life, right? And
hmm
their parents
hmm
are so loving. And I think that's an example of how, because although she's kind of been pushy, she's bringing this girl, she's trying to set him up. At the same time, she actually does listen to what he's saying to her. She cares about what he thinks and feels, and she kind of
hmm
notices that there's something between him and Yifan as well.
Yeah.
So it's
hmm
like, she's got the balance right, I think, as a parent.
I've always liked the Sang parents in general. Even in Hidden Love, when people got really mad at them for them questioning the relationship between Sang Zi and Wang Jiashu, even then, I still like them because their concerns were valid. Their
Hmm.
concerns were valid. So I really like, they're very much a loving and understanding and caring family. And they become, and this is mentioned in a later episode when they're already together, and I have that line down. But it's just like it's Yi Fan, and she like they're already dating, and she goes back to his parents for New Year's, and she says, "Yeah, only a place like this could like make." An adult like you, and I
Hmm.
have the exact
Hmm.
doubt. I'll make sure to read it a bit later when we get to it, but it's like it's true because his parents are really good parents, and we don't often get to see good
Mm.
parents
In C
in
dramas?
dramas.
No.
Yeah, C dramas even worse, right?
C dramas,
C
I've
dramas
never
even
hated the
worse.
parents more. And like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah, I
goodness.
agree. I agree. So yeah.
So, my unpopular opinion, and I don't know if we're going to touch on this, but I just have to touch on it just briefly.
Hmm.
They go really hard into the grandpa and grandma storylines with our
Yes.
second leads.
hmm
And I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I kind of tapped out of that storyline. That was my one qualm for me. And it's not necessarily like I have nothing analytical to say about it, saying like, oh, like I just didn't like how they did this. Personally, Alzheimer's, anything with that storyline, I just can't do because
hmm
personally in my life, I've had stuff like that happen. So, like,
Yeah, yeah.
any drama with an Alzheimer's storyline or anything like that, I truly have to just like skip over. So
Hmm.
I feel like anything regarding that plot line, you might just be like, "Oh, Becky, do you remember?" No, I do not, because I just was not I couldn't do it. And that's the thing, like maybe it was done well, maybe it wasn't done well, but
Hmm.
I personally kind of had to tap out of that storyline. So I feel like I did miss out a lot on the second couple, besides the moments that, didn't have the grandparents in it.
Hmm.
But I know that was like a huge part of the second couple's like storyline because they were always kind of with the grandma and grandpa. And I know in episode 15, that was when like with his illness, they
Hmm.
started going more into that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
No, but that's a very valid point. That's a very valid point, a very valid reason. Like sometimes there's things in dramas that are just not going to work for us because we all have life experiences and there's stuff that we'd rather not watch on our screens. So I think that's a very, very valid point. I don't think you missed out on that much in
It
general.
was yeah, it was kind of like more of a plot device to have the second
Yeah.
Them to
leads
get
like
together.
to have a reason
Yeah.
to be to yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. But like, gosh, anytime they came up on the screen, I'm like, goodness gracious, again. And then I had to just skip
Mm.
it. So that was my one qualm I talked about in part one. Like if they didn't have that storyline, I think I'd probably give it a 5. But I just feel like I missed out on a little bit, and like I just had to keep skipping anytime I saw that.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, thank you.
But see, like I said, I feel like that's a very valid point. So yeah, sometimes we just got to do what we got to do for our peace of mind, and if that means we're skipping a couple of scenes, then we're skipping a couple of scenes. Like it is what it is. So it's not like I said, I don't think you missed out on that much of plot and story, just by skipping like their scenes
Well,
in
that's good.
general. Yeah. So episode 16 is Happy Birthday Contended. Um, and this episode is guys, I'm on the floor with this episode. So one of my favorite things is in episode 16 is Sangyan giving her a cake for her birthday and then a perfume that is called First Frost, which in Chinese is Zhang, which is her nickname. Then her later to herself. Oh, this line killed me coming from Yi Fan. I suddenly want to fall in love with Sangyan. And I'm like, girl, what do you mean? You've been falling in love with him for so many episodes. But I mean, I want to smell the perfume he got her. I'm not going to lie. And the fact that he is just adorable. It's such a thoughtful gift. And it's like so personalized to, her in that. And then her just finally admitting to herself. This is such a big step
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
Yifan. She's finally admitting and being like, I want to fall in love. I want to allow myself to fall in love with Sangyan. And I'm like, oh, girl, aren't you there already? Let's admit, I mean, everybody else watching the drama is swooning over this guy at this point. Um, so
The
yeah,
other
I don't
thing,
really.
no,
Yeah,
carry
go
on,
ahead, Laura.
No, I was just
No,
gonna
no,
say
that was it.
the other thing with the birthday cake scene is when she makes a wish and blows out the candle and then he asks her what she wishes for and she says, "Well, if I tell you, won't it not come true?" And
Oh,
he says, "But how
yeah,
if you don't tell me, how can I make it come true?"
make it come true. Yeah, I'm
What
like,
are you
The
Lord,
greenest of green flags I've ever
the
seen in my life.
greenest of green
Ugh.
flags. And this is a recurring theme
Oh,
where he keeps
absolutely.
saying to her, just tell me your wishes and I'll make sure they'll come true. And I'm
Mhm.
like, dude. And the thing is, we even see this when he opened up Overtime, right? Overtime is the bar that she created in her mind. And I'm like, this man lives and breathes for this woman. Like, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but it kind of like is, you know, kind of like that. And I don't know, these two is just I loved this little episode. I loved this little, scene between them. um So yeah, I don't have much more on episode 16 actually. I think that's it for episode 16 for me. Um episode 17, oh, I love the title for this one. And the title for episode 17 is the farthest distance is an unspoken I love you. I'm like, the title for this episode is beautiful and it goes so well. So this is the one that we finally see like Sangyan very vulnerable. So he this is the scene where he comes home and she has again slept walked to his bedroom, is in his bed. And this is one of my all-time favorite scenes because I love this quote from Sangyan. And Sangyan like is like tucking her in and he's going to go sleep on the couch because that's the kind of man he is. He's not going to move her and he doesn't have the permission to jump in his own bed. So the dude is going to cut himself off to sleep on the sofa while she's comfortably tucked in his bed. And she kind of grabs onto his hand. And he's like, okay. So he sits down on the floor next to her and pulls out this line of, when Shuang Jing, can you chase me a little bit more obviously? If not, I'll feel unsure. If you don't extend your hand first, how can I give myself to you again? And I'm like, oh, Lord help us, because I loved this line so much. Because it's like, we only see Sangyan as this like what like we were saying, he has a almost bravado to him, right? So we don't often get to see any of his insecurities, but this is him showing that insecurity. He's scared, like he wanted to give himself to her and she broke his heart. It's understandable that he's very scared to do it again. And I'm just like, I loved this line. Love this line. We have an almost kiss scene in this episode again. And I'm like, the tension is just building and building and building. So yeah, have you got any, what did you guys think about like that little scene between them?
It was great. I mean, like his lines basically, I mean, it's always, of course, when she's asleep that he's like,
Mm-hmm.
here's my heart real quick. Um,
Yeah.
but I loved it. And I forgot like the exact lines. So you quoting those, I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was like,
Yeah.
again, like especially just because of the titles, like too. Like I don't know any of the titles. So every time you say the title, it's my first time hearing them. But no, I loved that part so much.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and then just the fact that like at the end she kind of like summons up the courage and then she asks him out
Yeah.
because I think she also is coming to the realization that she might have to be the one to reach out first because
Mm-hmm.
she knows she hurt him too. She knows she needs to make it okay for him to, you know, and she finally manages to do it. I think that I thought
Mm.
that was I was like you know punching the air
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
when she did. I was like yes, yes.
Yeah. Episode
Yeah.
17, I do have another note for episode 17, and it's them going for dinner, and they are going for dinner themselves, right? And they kind of get dragged by his co-workers into like their dinner, and her stepsister is there, right? And her stepsister is like, "Oh, Yifan can have the spare drink. Like, we don't need to order a new drink for her." And this man is like, menu, menu to her. And Sangyan steps in like straight away and asks, what do you want to order? What do you want to drink? And he's like, it's just him showing he's the only person that puts her first. Like, she will not take your sloppy leftovers. She will choose whatever the heck she wants. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like the way he just puts her stepsister in her corner. I'm like, this is great. This is
It
great. I
also
love this.
seemed
And
like the
I'll go.
stepsister had a crush on him too, because she was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
trying to impress
Mm-hmm.
him and trying to step in and trying to be like, no, 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 it's okay. And he's just like, who are you? Like, go away.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
And then at the end of that episode, when the pictures get sent through and everyone's looking at the camera and he's looking at
And
her.
he's looking at her. And I'm like, oh, I can't. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. Um, So yeah, episode 18, guys. Episode 18 is when everything changes. Because episode 18 is titled On My Way to You, Wait for Me. And I'm like, oh, and mind you, Becky, so basically, On My Way to You would be at the beginning of the episode, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the episode, they would put the rest of the title, Wait for Me. And I'm like, I love these.
I don't know
Like,
why they didn't do that in Netflix. It's literally just says 18, episode 18. Like, why? It's so poetic and beautiful. Like, maybe in the actual like
oh,
episode they have it, but like, why wouldn't they just put it in the title of the episode
mm,
of each episode? I
mm.
just don't understand it.
I don't
But
know. I don't know.
that's crazy.
So episode 18, I said I love that she calls him while she's eating noodles at the shop they used to have noodles at constantly when they were young, and plucks up her courage to say to him very quickly, Sangyan, you told me if I pursued you earnestly, you would consider it. So this is me letting you know I'm pursuing you. Can you consider it? Poof,
And then she
hang up.
hangs up.
Perfect. Perfect. I was gonna say
And I'm like,
perfection. I just said perfection.
and I'm like, I love this because this is so her, right? This is
Absolutely.
so Yifan. And it's the fact that right before she makes that call, you can see she's like building up the courage and building up the courage to do it. Um, and then, and then he walks in, guys. And then he walks
Oh,
into the freaking restaurant.
With
And
an
I'm like,
with an
umbrella,
umbrella.
with an
nonetheless.
umbrella.
No jealousy there,
Oh,
No
just
jealous umbrella.
feelings.
oh, and the man and like the owner of the restaurant is like, do you want to eat something? And he's like, no, I'm here to pick someone up this time. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. But this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And then not only that, but it follows up this scene with him saying, after all these years, haven't you noticed I still only like you?
Oh.
If you think these words are a little pretentious to say, let me say them from now on. Although it's a little hard to say them right now, we're mutually in love, so from now on you're my boyfriend. Oh, it's the fact that it's her that takes that step. It's not Sangyan, it's Yifan. And I feel like this is a huge, huge step for Yifan because she doesn't believe that she deserves any of this, right? That's what she's
Yeah.
been conditioned to believe, and that's like what life and her family have taught her. So for her to step up and be like, we love each other. Can you be my boyfriend from now onwards? And I'm like, I loved it even more that it was her asking him rather than him asking her, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah,
so
I
yeah.
agree.
Also, I've put it, and I don't know if I might be wrong here, but I've written this, so I don't know if it is. But I think this might be the first time in the future story that, not the future, like the present, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That he calls her when Shang.
Yeah, I
So
think.
and it's like he uses that, and I think, and I've noticed like he seems to use that nickname particularly when he wants to make her feel really special or really
Hmm.
loved.
Mhm.
He'll
Aw.
call her that, and he calls her that when he confesses, which I loved that. I just thought that was so lovely.
Well, because technically that nickname, only her father used to call her that nickname.
Hmm.
So it's very, very
Yeah.
special. And then if you look back in the high school years, he would call her that all the time. Like he would mess around and call her by her nickname constantly. But even like her bestie, even, her bestie does not call her by her nickname. It's literally only him that calls her that. And I kind of love that.
Yeah.
That little like detail. Episode 19, I just have down their dating era has begun, and it's so freaking cute. From lots of glances to stolen kisses. That's literally what I've written
That's what
down
it
for
was.
episode
Like,
because it
yeah.
is.
There were so many
Um,
little moments.
Episode 19 has a really long title. Like, it's ridiculous. So, episode 19 is titled By Zhang Doesn't Mean I'm a Loser, but that I only lost to you when Shuang Zhang. So, By Zhang is kind of like his um nickname. It's the name of his character in the game that he started to play because she played it.
Oh,
Um,
the game. I forgot about the game.
yes, the
That's another
game.
episodes though, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's like the character that he said. And I wrote down also for episode 19, I love the fact, and this is what I mean by like very small details. I wrote down, I love the fact that the first time we see Sangyan wearing a color other than black is because Yifan gifts him a brown coat for
The
his
coat.
birthday. And I'm like, oh,
It was so
because
good.
now that they're dating, you see him starting to wear many different colors, but it only starts after she gifts him that brown coat. And I'm like, I love this. So, yeah, that was episode. I think, like, I don't, that's the only two notes I have from episode 19, the brown coat and the dating era, because I think that's literally
Well,
all that
the only
happens.
other thing I've got is in this episode, Su Huan is trying to confess to Chi Zhao, and blooming
Oh my
Shang
God, that
Lang comes and
scene.
like it's like
Oh,
he
Yeah,
doesn't want
that
that's
to
was
be with her,
so
but he
right.
wants to
annoying.
sabotage
He
Su
doesn't know how to
Huan's.
take a hint. Like she's like, I'm
Honestly,
going to meet someone. He's like, oh, I'll come with. Sir? No, just
go
stay in the
away.
apartment. Like, what the heck?
Thing is, I don't understand the need for him to be in this scene at all.
There
At
was
all.
no need. They just wanted to create more like I don't even know. I don't want to say misunderstanding, but they just wanted to create like something, a small tiny conflict, but it just was I thought it was very unnecessary to
Because
be
I was like,
honest.
sir, this is not your place. You had your time and you refused her and you like were mean to her.
That's
Walk
why it was so
away.
annoying. You're like, don't, you've already had your chance and said no, don't sabotage like the
Yeah,
next guy that wants to be with her. That's not fair.
yeah, yeah. Episode
Anyway,
20, guys. Episode 20. It is packed with goodness. Episode 20 is titled I Want to Quietly Slip Into Your Soul to Catch You Every Time You Feel Vulnerable.
Oh
Now,
my
that is a
God.
freaking title. That is like
Yeah.
poetry.
Yeah.
Episode 20, guys, it's the Ferris wheel scene.
oh, and he
Oh.
wants to ride it again so he can kiss her at the top. Hmm.
This man is terrified of heights, and yet he goes onto the Ferris wheel to ride. And then I just put, um, I wrote down, on the Ferris wheel and her taking a photo of him, then him kissing her at the top of the Ferris wheel because couples that kiss there stay together. The fact that he says, I don't believe it. I believe in myself. This is to make you believe it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this
But
man,
that's so
like,
Sangyan.
That's
That's
just
it's
like
so
him. Yeah.
Sangyan.
yeah.
It's
But
so Sangyan.
just the fact that he's afraid of heights, but and rode the Ferris wheel not once, but twice because he's like, I need to do this. And I think that's just lovely.
Yeah, yeah, I do love it. One of, again, this here is, I love this scene with a passion. It's episode 20 is when she cooks for him. And it's the fact that she cooks for him is already something that's quite nice because it's usually him cooking for her. So this is kind of like her reciprocating him on a certain level. But that's not necessarily, the part. It's the conversation that comes while they're having dinner. And she says, since being with you, my sleepwalking has decreased a lot. It feels like the pressure doesn't matter anymore. Those words make me pretty happy. At least I'm more useful than the lights. And that's what he says to her. And then she says, what I mean is, no matter what, you'll always catch me. And her eyes are like teary. She has tears in her eyes. And she says, I'm okay, I'm okay. And he says, when he fun, no matter what, I'll always catch you. And it's like, it's a beautiful scene, beautiful scene, because she knows the kind of comfort and the kind of place that he creates for her. And he is just so incredibly in love with this woman. And, it's so obvious because he's just like, no matter what, I'm here. And that's, I think, all she's ever wanted to hear out of somebody is just to know that she has somebody unconditionally by her side. And that's him to her. So I love this scene. I truly, truly, truly love this scene. So yeah.
See,
He says a super cute thing to her at the end of this episode where they're on the sofa in the living room and she's kind of opens up to him about her mum and her sister, why she doesn't go on with her sister, and she's
oh
like she's
yeah.
making the choice to tell him about this. And then she kind of says like, oh, maybe my sister should have the best of everything, because I'm older, like I can get by kind of thing. And then he says to her, I wrote it down because I loved it. He says, don't project your sister's harsh words onto me. Everything in this house was chosen especially for you. You deserve the best of everything. So again,
Oh,
it's like,
perfect.
yeah. Oh.
End of episode 20 though. I'm pretty sure you guys are forgetting the weird phone call that she got because
Oh
that was
yeah.
when
Oh yeah.
I was like, hold on a minute. I'm gonna tap out of this drama just for like a couple of days because I am
So that
not
I can
dealing with
binge it.
this. I am not dealing with this because are you kidding me? She gets a phone call and it's this creepy man's voice going, I miss you. Like, are you serious? I was so upset because you get all those cute moments and now we have a potential stalker who, we don't know anything about. We just know that there's this creepy man saying I miss you. Like we have no like indication of who this guy could be to her.
Mhm.
And then of course she has to leave and she has to go on the scene and report stuff. So then
Mhm.
that goes
Mhm.
into the next episode. But I'm just telling you guys right now, I was literally like, because I think you had messaged me, Liliana. You're like, oh hey, like, did you fit? And I'm like, because I think I had just taken a small break from it because I was not expecting to enter the stalker zone just yet because I was so
Mhm.
excited.
Mhm.
They had finally had all these beautiful moments. Um, but oh my goodness, we'll go into the other episodes, but let me tell you, I had
Well,
to
you're not ready.
oh no, I
But they
was
have it, but
not.
mind you, like I feel like the more dramas I watch, the more like, when things are too nice, that my
Yeah, yeah,
spidey
they were
senses
too
start
happy.
tingling. I'm like,
Anytime it's
well,
too
this
happy,
has all been quite nice.
Yeah.
they
Something's
gotta
gonna
pull
happen.
the rug.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. They can't, they
Exactly.
can't, they can't let you be too happy for that long. That's just not how it works.
No, for example, like
Got
I
to
mean,
earn
I
it.
I feel like in so many dramas when it's like super duper happy, like you're like, this is so cute. Like that's when like a truck comes out and like
The
hits
white
someone.
truckadoo.
And
The
I'm
white
just like,
truckadoo.
I literally watched a drama. I was like, I think the first episode though, and it was so happy and so cute. And she had just gotten into the college with her friend, and her friend was going to congratulate her, and then the truck hits, and I literally was like, I'm not watching this show. But when you're too involved in a show and there's so many episodes, sometimes it's hard to just walk away because obviously part of me is like, okay, who's this creepy man? Obviously, he's going to protect her. He protected her from other people. We're going to get him
Mm,
fighting for her.
mm-hmm.
Like, that's going to happen. But I was just like, why? But
Yeah.
yeah. But that goes into episode 21 with the car crash reporting and all
Yes,
that.
it does. It does. Because there's like, she's reporting, and this is a start of like where you start to see the cracks. So basically, they keep missing
Hey.
each other because of like their work schedules. But I
I
feel
think
like
that
that's
wee
so
montage of
real.
them is so cute though. Like that
Yeah.
wee montage of them just like having a quick hug before one of them runs out the door, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought it was quite cute.
This this reminds me a lot when a good few years ago, good, like maybe 10 years ago, my partner and I were like on ridiculous schedules where we barely saw each other. And that's how, like, a lot of the time we would like leave notes for each other. We'd be like, oh, I cooked you dinner, it's in the fridge, that sort of thing. We'd constantly, so this kind of reminded me of that. And I was like, this also feels realistic with the kind of jobs that they have.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked that they showed that aspect. I wrote down their kiss scene in like big letters. Plus, then him saying,
In the
"Then I'm
kitchen. In
hooked."
the
Line,
kitchen.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That scene was, oh my God. So this is episode 21, and episode 21 is titled Where is Hope? Hope is everywhere with you in the future. Which I think is beautiful. I also have for episode 21, I have the scene where she gifts him the bracelet with a frost flake, her
Yes.
nickname, and her couple bracelet has a sangyan or a mulberry leaf. See, this is why I love the Chinese language in general. Like, it's so poetic and it's so freaking beautiful. This scene was so well shot. There's subtle touches and the sun shining through the window. Then him gifting her the recorder. When Zhang, please be safe at work. Your boyfriend is waiting for you at home. You deserve the best. Remember, there's someone lonely at home waiting for you. No matter what, I'll always be here for you. And I'm just like, I'm on the ground. I can't go any lower. This scene is just so incredibly, they give each other what they need in the relationship, I think. And it's just so, so nice. So nice. I love this scene.
I,
Thoughts,
w-
guys, on this
I,
scene?
I want to add something, but it's not to
Go
the
for it.
same. So, but Laura, so
That's
if Laura
fine.
has anything to add, well, mine's about to take a bit of a turn because isn't so the car crash that she's going to report on, that's the
Mm-hmm.
guy that gave her
Mm-hmm.
that creepy
Yes.
phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
And
also
Mm-hmm.
the who turns out to be the like uncle.
yeah, so we start to get a closer look at like the guy that
Mm-hmm.
did call her is her parentheses uncle. And basically, he sees her and she's trying to hide, but it's like actually a really you can see the impact his presence kind of has on her
Eyes on her.
because
She kind of shuts down, doesn't
she's
she?
Do you know what
reporting.
actually I wrote on in my notes like so when you fans trauma response is for sure flight. She's not a fight,
Mm-hmm.
she's a flight. And
She's a
like
Yeah,
I
flight.
think
Yeah.
exactly.
you see that when she sees him, the first thing she wants to do is run away, and that's really consistent with her obviously what her
Yeah.
character then goes on to do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just hard because you see all her colleagues around her kind of just like what's going on because she like shrivels down and she kind of just like shuts down because she can't leave the scene. She can only just
Mm-hmm.
hide herself from. But the fact he is the person that crashed into that. And then, from there, he starts becoming, unfortunately, a reoccurring character that we start to see in more episodes. That just definitely put a little damper on the cuteness
Yeah.
for me
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Every the next couple of episodes, you're gonna just be hearing me be like, you know what I didn't like about that? No, but yeah, that was the one thing that I was like, okay, so we are starting to get a better idea of like who called her and like why that their past
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um
And then when she comes
Well,
home from that, and then she's like a bit upset, and she can't quite bring herself to tell Sangyan like
yeah, what's
why.
happening?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like he just kind of holds her and kind of supports her and says like what he says something about like I'll even hold you while you sleep if you want. Later you
Oh.
can
Mm-hmm.
hold me however you want. I'll even hold you while you sleep if you want. He says. I was like, okay. And then the other thing I noticed actually is they have this conversation, and um, Sang makes a comment about, of course I'd be, or is it her that says it? I can't remember who says it, but they say, of course I'd be happy to be your power bank, providing you with energy every day in the future. And I thought that's like a wee nod, I think, to Hidden Love too, because there's that whole scene between Duan Jiaxu and
Mm-hmm.
Zhang Zhao where like she's like, I just need a wee bit longer. I need
I
to
need to
charge me.
recharge. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
cute. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That is adorable. I I feel like I agree with like what you guys were saying about this guy coming in. Do you guys, because I think a lot of people were confused about the family connections. We can just quickly discuss it now, but do you know who that guy is, like in terms of like family tree? Do
So
we
Kind
understand?
of like
it
her
took
aunt's
me
brother or something
yeah,
like that.
So
I
it's
think the
not
aunt
her
must be an
aunt.
aunt the aunt by ma
So it's
must be an
not her
aunt by
aunt.
marriage.
So yes, so basically the guy who's married to the aunt is is Yifan's dad's brother, right? So it's her direct uncle.
Uh-huh.
And so the aunt is her aunt by marriage, and the
Yeah.
stalker is the brother to her aunt by marriage. So it's
Yeah.
technically like
So they're not
her.
related, but technically
No,
like through
no.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Because I think a lot of people were a little bit confused and were like uncle and like so, but no, that's like the relationships there. Um so I think we're on to episode 22. And episode 22, the title is much shorter. It just says opportunity is for you. Um Episode 22, I have their entrance at the friend's wedding.
It
Oh,
was
I
And
so
know.
then
good. They're
I
shining. They're
they're
glowing.
shiny glowing.
So
And
Also,
happy.
like
she
this is one of the first times as well we get like that hidden love crossover because it's that scene happens in Hidden Love too, but from a different perspective.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
even see bits of like there's you
Yeah.
see the Sanja wanting a strawberry and not getting. You see that in this one too. That was the same in
They're
Hidden
not there
Love.
at the wedding. They're not there in this one.
They are. They are.
They're
Oh no,
definitely I
they're
don't
not.
think
You're
they
right.
are.
You're
They're
right. Oh no,
not.
I'm remembering that wrong then because you're right.
No.
They're
So
already taking her
basically,
home.
what they've
Yeah.
kind of synced up with
Yeah.
is technically they've changed it a little bit, but in Hidden Love, Sangyan was there and Sangyan was waiting for Yifan. And that's what happens here as well.
That's right, but
But
then they've left already.
Xiaxu,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's taking her home.
Xiaxu and Sangzi leave
That's
before
right. You're totally
Yifan
right.
comes.
You're
So
totally
that's
right.
kind of like you can absolutely match up the timelines here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, oh, why can't we see them four together? And I was like, well, because in the original timeline, anyways, in Hidden Love, they left before
Hmm.
Yifan
That's
arrives.
right.
So
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
sense for that to be happening that way. I wrote down Yifan saying, of course you're more handsome, otherwise how could have I pursued you so hard? And
Oh
I'm like, I
my
love this.
gosh. When he,
I
okay, I
love
saw
this.
thing. They said when he looked up to the sky, when she like said that, he was thanking God. Like they were like, is he like almost tears in his eyes? Like, cause she's just like, of course I pursue, like they're just being so cute. And you could see
Yeah.
he was so happy to be there with her in this moment. Like he was the happiest man
Hmm.
alive.
And
Mhm.
then they're just all like drunk and belligerent and cute. And like,
Yeah.
when they go home and they're just all drunk and stuff. And it's just cute.
Yeah, I wrote
It's
down
really
their
cute.
drunk stuff. I said, Yifan drunk is hilarious and adorable. Like she is just hilarious and adorable. And I said, him taking care of her, taking her makeup off, and also her apologizing for the words she said when she was younger. Even though she's drunk, I think this means a lot to Sangyan
Yeah.
that she's apologizing for that. So yeah, I really really liked it. Now episode 23, guys, is, as the Brits would say, where everything goes tits up,
Was
so to
not a
speak, where
fan.
yeah, where everything starts going tits up, really. Episode 23 is aptly titled Hide Where to Hide.
That makes
And
sense.
yeah. So the first thing I have down is her uncle seeing her at overtime and coming for her. She had the perfect, like, this is the thing that I said. She had the perfect opportunity to share her story with Sangyan, but she chooses not to. The meeting affects both of them. He knows there's something wrong with her after meeting the uncle, but he doesn't know what it is, and she's not willing to tell him. Now, I kind of understand this to a certain degree because when this happened, she was made to believe that this almost rape later on is something so shameful and something that she should be quiet about because nobody is either going to believe her or nobody is going to be wanting to be with her because of this, shameful thing that she did. Um, so it was really, I don't know, this whole scene. I at the same time, I kind of just wanted her to share the story with Sangyan, and she didn't. And I was really, really in two minds. I kind of understood where her character was coming from, but at the same time, I was like, can't we just please tell him what's happening? But no. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. I didn't like that I mean, the first thing she said was like, I don't know him. Right.
Mm.
And right off the bat, that kind of is like, no, obviously this guy knows you. Like you're saying you don't know him. And that was kind of like, dang. Just the fact that she wouldn't be honest with him. But I do understand how hard it is
Mm-hmm.
especially because we see in the other episodes how hard it is for her to relive the memories and kind of go through what did happen with that uncle. So I do understand to an extent why she chose to do that. But what I really hated, we're gonna get into me just hating on things, but not in a bad way. Like when you watch something and it evokes so much emotion from you, you're like screaming at
Yes.
the TV,
Yeah.
basically like that. So I hated the fact that he came to her aid. Well, I mean, I love that he came to her aid, but I hated the repercussions from that. So basically, he was like, don't touch her, like, and he was like trying to get her away from him because obviously there was something weird. She was very upset about something, but she wasn't going to tell him exactly what.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the stupid uncle, decided to go after his business to like show a
Mm-hmm.
message like, you can't do that. So he like, and oh my, the lengths they went to was insane to watch. I mean, the fact, were
Yeah.
they going to be eating vomit or something? They're going to eat something nasty so they can like throw up, or they had fake vomit. I don't even know. They had stuff in a bag. And they were like, do we go to this extent? And they're like, yeah, we're going to go to this extent. Because
Yeah.
they wanted to prove that they got food poisoning from the restaurant and get it shut down and like get money from her boyfriend and like, basically
Mhm.
blackmail or hurt him so they can hurt her. So I hated that. But I know obviously this person's a bad person. So they're going to do
Yeah.
everything they can to hurt the female
To
lead.
get. Yeah. I hated that scene, but that scene leads into one of it, arguably for me, one of the best Yi-Fan scenes from the whole show. And that is Yi-Fan going to see her family. Her family, I put it in quotation marks. And
Oh,
I
that's
have
right.
to read it because I
Yeah.
have the whole thing written down, like the whole speech.
Liliana.
So, of course, look, this thing is important. This is like
It is.
key key moment for her character because she has never stood up to any of them. She kind of just lets them do their thing and she kind of lets everything they do slide off her back. But now they've touched Sangyan, and this is the moment where you see her turn a little bit feral and her defending, Sangyan. So I loved it and I thought it was such a key moment. And it says, so she goes, what do you want from us? I don't care why you came to Nanwu. Just don't involve me. Live your life and that's all. Whether you live or die, it's none of my business. There's nothing more to say to you. If you, and she's pointing to the uncle and to the aunt, if you come bothering me or the people around me again, I'll definitely call the police. And then her aunt says, why do you enjoy calling the police so much? We once raised you. And she says, how did you raise me? Do you need me to remind you? Do you need that? Now that I can finally live without depending on anyone, working hard to live my own life, why do you have to show up again? Yao Chin, the surgery fees you had were paid by my dad, right? And when Mink, tuition was also paid by my dad. And the money you needed for your businesses, did he ask for it back? And you, pointing to the mother, why did you make me live under someone else's roof for years? You could afford to raise me, but never had the courage to do so. And then her mother says, when you fan, when did you become like this? Did you learn bad things from that guy who runs the restaurant? And she says, bad things? Now you're worried I've turned bad? Isn't it too late? I'll say it again. If you keep bothering the people around me, I'll fight you to the end. And I mean, this whole thing. I had to write it down because this whole speech, this whole it's her putting her foot down, which she has never done. And even her mother is like, "Oh, why are you saying like bad things now?" And it's like it's because you touched the people she loves. And
Exactly.
that I think I think a lot of people always say, "Oh, we see Sangyan often show his love for her, but we don't often see her do the same. This is how she shows her love. Like she puts herself out there in a way that she never really has before. So this scene to me was just peak Yifan. It's like a turning point for her character, I think.
It is. I agree. The one thing I do want to just bring up because it's really interesting, like the family dynamic that we start to see, because we start to see some scenes before like she even came, because the uncle is living at the mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see, but you can see the mom literally be like cover up to her step like
Daughter,
daughter, not
yes,
yeah.
stepdaughter, yeah.
She's like cover up when he like comes home, and it's like so insanely hypocritical that she is
Mhm.
protecting her daughter or trying to protect her daughter when, you know, she didn't protect her actual daughter when things did go wrong and things did get
Mhm.
really dicey. So that I thought was a little crazy. And I mean, you see this in the flashbacks. So I won't go into it right now because that's in episode 25 because I know episode 25 was not a good time for me. But basically, yeah, I definitely agree with you with that. With her standing up for herself, that was a really critical moment, I think, with character development for her to show that, she will not let other people mess with the people around her and she stands her ground. And it was in the rain too. Wasn't she like soaking wet? Like she went there. And then
Hmm.
I feel like that was
Hmm.
very symbolic of
Mhm.
the previous, I mean, we haven't gone into it, but the night when everything happened, it was raining and she was also soaking wet, but she was miserable and sobbing and just like hating, like she was just not having a good time and called her mother. And like, I mean, everything that happened was just honestly so tragic and terrible. And the same thing, same weather, raining, but she came into the house, where it was a different house. I think was her
Yeah,
mom's
different
house?
house. Yeah, because it's her mom's
Yeah.
house. Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
also still like symbolic of like her finally standing up to everyone that hurt her. And I really
Yeah.
think like with it raining that day that was something that the writers did intentionally.
Mhm.
Is it in this episode too that the uncle approaches her in the street and the young
I think
intern
so.
guy is
Yeah.
there
I
and he's
think
completely
so.
clueless, like he walks up to them and
Such
just like
stupid
clearly having
boy.
a trauma response
I
Like
didn't
and this
even,
uncle's like creepy as hell
yeah,
and he's just like, oh
yeah.
hey, what's happening, and you're like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. He's an idiot, an
well,
absolute idiot. I didn't even write it down because it's like, how can you see she's shaking, visibly
uh-huh.
shaken
I
up?
can't. Well,
And
so did
what
that
an
happen
idiot.
after that? Did that happen after he threatened her?
Or
Or
I can't
because
remember.
I can't
That was
remember
before. That was before because
before he
episode
threatened her.
24, yeah, episode 24 she leaves. So
Yeah. So
it's
going
before that.
into that, the uncle basically shows up at her work. Also, the uncle starts working at her work, which I think is
Yeah.
insane because so basically she comes to work one day and he's like a security
There,
guard and
security guard there.
she asks how long has he been working here and they go, oh, like a month or so, like, he's been here for, he's so helpful, he's so great, and obviously she's not going to say anything to that, but now she has to be wary at her workplace and kind of make sure, and she works long hours, so she's always there after hours, so of course when she's there after hours, like it's so creepy. It's so
Mm,
creepy because
Hmm.
she
Hmm.
leaves the building and he's there at the security guard like booth. And he's like, "Have a good night." And she's like, "Thanks, you too." Right? Walks away. All of a sudden, he's out of the booth wearing normal clothes, coming up to her and being like, you think you can just like like and he goes
Mhm.
into like you ruined my life, I'm gonna ruin everyone around you. He pushes her into a sign. Like, I mean, her bag falls, and that's when stupid boy comes over and is like, what's
My
going
God,
on?
it's so
Picks up her
crazy.
bag and just like does not realize she's literally, I feel like she's almost having like not a panic attack, but she's definitely having a lot of like emotions at the same time. And like she's obviously not okay. And he just does
I think
not pick up on that.
I think she's having a trauma
A
response.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
literally what it is. She's having a trauma response. And actually, episode 24, so that's already have like episode 24 is the title is something that is very important. And I feel like, again, that people missed out. So the title for episode 24 is The Reason I Left is Because I Don't Want to Be a Storm in Your Life. And that is a beautiful title. It goes exactly with what's happening and it gives some context to what's happening. And I felt so bad that, like, again, if people were watching on Netflix, they didn't pick up on these titles.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I wrote down. So this is the episode. Sang Yan goes to Yi He to see Sang Zi because she has a boyfriend. This is where we can completely match up the timelines because we're having our male lead go off, and this is when Sang Zi and Duan Jiashu get together, and he goes and he like they have the punching matches between them. So this is like where we can actually properly put the stories like in the same timeline, so to speak. And this is also, I believe, either here or before, we have Sangyan, right, in the original Hidden Love, telling his sister that he has someone that is chasing after him. And nobody believes him. And like even us as the viewers who didn't know about it, we were like, oh yeah, he's just joking about. But actually he did. Yifan was chasing after him.
You're
And I'm
right.
like, yeah. So I thought that was like quite nice. I put down Yifan leaving is true to her character. All she knows is to run, and no matter how much Sangyan assures her, if she doesn't believe it herself, then she won't stay. I dislike her choice, but I also understand it. So, this is kind of like where I'm coming from in terms of I truly do understand where she's coming from. Like Laura said earlier in the episode, she is very much a flight instead of fight kind of
Yeah.
response. So yeah, I don't have to like the choice. I don't even have to agree with it. But I can understand where it's sort of like coming from. But that leads into the saddest scene is like Sangyan coming back to an empty house. My God.
It's terrible.
Broken.
It's terrible.
Oh, that's
Broken.
awful. Awful.
I just, here's my thing. Like what you
Hmm.
said, it's very true to her character to just
Hmm.
like leave.
Hmm.
But my God, the actual like chaos and disruption that brought upon everyone that loved her, everyone that cared about her. Even like, I mean, even like her colleagues and like obviously like the male lead, of course. But like I mean, just like her best friend, like what I went said before, like she was like, yeah, she's done this before, but like it still hurts like the second time. Like it was so hard to watch because you're just watching basically like three people that like care about her, that are her friends, trying to find her and doing everything they can within their means, being
Hmm.
exhausted each day because it was another dead end. And then we're seeing her, we finally see her point of view, and she is back to doing what she used to do, which is not truly caring about herself, or like she's living in another place that's not very good for her, and she's living in, or not living, she's working in an environment where they're like screaming at her, and so she had all the love in the world, okay, all the love in the world, she was finally happy, and to protect the ones she loves, because she's like the creepy uncle said like, I will follow you and I will make sure no everyone gets hurt in your path, like, so she is doing her best to protect herself and protect the people she loves. But by doing that, she strips away her own happiness that took so long to build up and so long for her to finally achieve. And it was like so absolutely heartbreaking to watch. Like when we got to that episode, I was just devastated. But at the
I
same
agree.
time, like what you said, we have to respect her choice. As you know, it's very true to her character as well. She's just trying to protect the ones she loves. And I mean, so like of course she would go back to something she knows because last time she ran away too, and that worked for her, and
Mhm.
it was the only thing she could do. So I do
But
understand it. I don't agree with it.
I think also that it does let us have a little bit more of character slash plot development because in Sang Yan's process of like desperately trying to find her, he ends up back in, is it Bayu, and sees where she was living as a teenager,
Oh
and he
yeah, and Nanwu.
finds,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot about, yeah, you're right.
And then
Yes.
he
Mhm.
finds like the pile of papers and sees that she genuinely actually did want to go to Namu University with him, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that like that's another piece of the puzzle for him, which
He's like a detective, that
yeah.
whole
He really
montage.
is. He
He's like
really
going
is.
around being like, "Have you seen this woman?" Or and
And
then being like, "Can I see where she lived?" And like all kinds of different things. Like,
and the thing is, it's the little fact that she registers oh, that's later on. But what I wrote down was this is her family. So her best friend and Sangyan are her family. But there's a line that I really, really appreciate it. And I can't remember if it was Sangyan. I'm pretty sure it was Sangyan who said it. So the line is, but even knowing her, we still don't know what she's been through. Maybe it's because I didn't get her to trust me enough that she decided to go through this pain alone again. So, this is very true. Like we said, all she knows is to run. And I think this is very much one of those situations where they can be black and blue in the face, telling her, we love you, we want, we're by your side and whatnot, until she believes it and until she loves herself and she believes herself, she is not gonna believe them, regardless of what they say, regardless how much love they show her, right? So
yeah.
I think that's where it's coming from a little bit as well. It's not the fact that she doesn't believe them, it's that she doesn't believe her. Um
Yeah.
so yeah. But episode 24 and then going into episode 25, these episodes were freaking heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Because episode 25 is titled Where Are You? No matter where you hide, I'll find you. And that can be like a double meaning, whether it's going to be Sangyan finding her
For
or whether
real.
it's going to
That's
be
crazy.
the uncle finding her, because he kind of says to her as well, no matter where like you hide, I'll find you. So yeah, episode 25 is the episode where we get all the backstory, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I tell you
It's
how I
the
know
episode.
that because all my notes are I hate this mum. The mum is terrible. What is going on with this mum? What kind of mother is she?
I just remember sobbing at this
Sobbing.
episode.
I
Like
so sad, so
sobbing.
sad.
And my boyfriend walked in the room and goes, "What's going?" I go, "It's so sad because you see," and I like went into a whole monologue because the thing that I mean, like getting the backstory, like finding out what truly happened this night, that it's been eluding this whole drama that something happened and we finally have the full picture. And it is like the most gutting, like I can't even like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the fact is we are seeing a gradual like we're seeing it gradually through these flashbacks that the uncle is creeping her out. The uncle is doing stuff
Yeah.
that's not okay.
He's
And
sexually or harassing her. Like,
Exactly.
there's no ifs or buts about it. He's sexually harassing her.
And
And
the
they
aunt,
all know
they
what he's
They
like.
all
all
know.
know. And they're all turning their backs. They're all turning their
Hmm.
backs. They're all pretending it doesn't happen. They're all like glancing at each other back and forth, and they're all excusing the behavior. And the
And
first
nobody's
time,
protecting her.
it's literally so disturbing to watch because the first time it happens, because their rooms are directly next to each
Next to
other,
each other, yeah.
and the first time it happens, he's just like, "Can you help me get something? Like, can you help me?" And so she's just like, and I think she's very hesitant at first because she's just like, "I don't
Hmm.
feel comfortable." But he's like, "Please, they're gonna be home. Like, we need, you know." So she's like, "Okay, like I'm gonna be a good, you know." And so she goes to find this thing, and then he comes up behind her, and basically, like, we don't really see a lot, but we just get the gist that like he was,
Hmm.
almost gonna,
Groper.
yeah. And the family comes home, and obviously she's deeply disturbed. She's crying, she's screaming, like she's just like not okay. And they're like, "Go to your room."
Hmm.
She goes to the room, and they're just kind of looking at each other back and forth because they know what he attempted to do, but they are not
They
going to
know
say
what kind of
anything.
person he is.
They're not going to protect her. They don't care about her. And her on the phone, because we never saw why she was on the phone with her. Like, we never saw the scene as to why. We just saw her crying on the phone. That was the first scene when she's in the rain crying to her mom, being like,
Hmm.
"I want to go. I want to go." And that's the thing where it's like, it's so gradual. And then it works up to that way where he finally like does put hands on her, and she's like, I don't want to be here. And like nothing happened yet, but that is exactly why she's telling her mom, because she thinks her mom's going to protect her. She thinks her mom is going to be on her side and be like, "Oh my goodness, honey." Like, and that's the first time. Well, actually, I mean, we've seen her mom be kind of a really terrible mom to begin with.
Hmm.
But her mom is like, "Oh no, it's okay. Like, you're fine. They'll take care of you. Don't worry." And like,
Yeah, yeah.
her daughter is sobbing to her. Like, my God, just say like, "Oh, you can stay a couple of days at home." Like, like at least care about her, just to care about her well-being. Like, that's the part where it's just like it's so messed up. But then it only gets worse from there.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
then
Yeah,
and
it
even
does.
once the like big incident has happened and the mum she can't even won't even go to the police station with her.
oh,
She's
it's
like, "Oh well, I got a lift here
disgusting.
and I'm gonna have to get a
I need
lift
to, yeah,
back."
I
So
need to go. I need to pop
aha,
off.
like
And the
ugh.
I,
thing is, this is so disturbing. So I don't know, Liliana, if you want to go into it, like the full details, like trigger
yeah,
warnings and all.
yeah, so
But
it's fine. I mean, if people are listening up to this point, I'm guessing they would have watched it. But what I wrote down is Yifan begging her mother to help when the man keeps sexually harassing her. Her aunt and uncle seeing what's happening and choosing to ignore it. No one
terrible.
protects her. Only she does. No wonder she doesn't trust her safety to anyone else. Her
Mhm,
daughter is almost raped and the mother just leaves
mhm.
her because um, so she's almost raped and they blame her. How awful. The fact that she had to jump out of a window injuring her foot, and that is the reason she no longer can take dance as a career.
That
So
killed me.
this man not only takes away her innocence, herself of safety, robs her of like her youth
Yeah.
and becomes the monster in her nightmares, but he also takes away her dream and her passion. Well, not her passion because she keeps that, but he takes away her dream of becoming a dancer.
He
And I
basically
feel like
takes her
that's just,
self-identity.
yeah, it's like that is just as violating. Like he
That's also
robs
that's
her.
also her escape too, her
Yeah,
escapism, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
He
that
robs her of
just
so much.
that killed me. And the thing that was just most disgusting to hear, I mean, there was just so many things he said to her, but the biggest thing was like he was literally about to like do the act, and he's like, "No one's gonna want you anymore. You're tainted. Like, once this
Mhm.
happens, like you're like it's so
So disgusting.
disgusting."
So
And
disgusting.
like you said, the fact that she finally like crawled out a window and like hurt her foot. And then now we see like that's why she hasn't really pursued dancing, because she has that injury and he like took away her identity. It's just like, and the fact that he came back, right? And he's just like, "Let me ruin your life a little bit more." Like, that is
Mhm.
just Oh, it was so heart-wrenching to
And it's the
watch. Like,
fact that
truly.
you also realize this is the reason she wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning for sleepwalking, because
Yeah.
that's when it all happened. So that's why. And the only reason, she managed to jump out of the window and everything. And it just goes to show how even more of an awful person this is, because back in the present, he comes off to Sangyan and like they are fighting, and he says to Sangyan, I get it now. You're mad because I touched your little girl. I almost had her. And I'm like, that is disgusting.
It was,
Disgusting of a
yeah.
human being. Disgusting of a human being. Um, so yeah,
And
I,
like,
I hated it. Hated
oh,
it.
it was terrible. And the mom, though, here's the thing, right? Your daughter just fell out of a window. She's claiming, and it happened, but like, to them, they're like, she's claiming this, but she's saying something happened, and you're just gonna think, oh no, she just jumped out of a window because
She
she had
felt
the
like
wrong
it.
idea. She had the wrong idea. She hurt her foot because she had the wrong idea about this. Like, and then the ride thing, being like, I have to go, my ride is here. You'll be okay, you can still stay here. And the police officer was like, we're gonna take you to, don't worry,
That
we're
was a
gonna take care
God-given
of you.
angel sent
And
to
Yeah,
her, was
she
that
was she was
police
the
officer.
only the only person in the room who had any
the
concern
only
for.
adult, yeah,
Yeah.
for real. And she was just like, I will,
I'm going to
like,
take care of you.
I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you're okay. That was nice that she at least had someone, because I cannot even imagine how it would be if it was just like, well, we'll take you to the station, but you're going to have to go back. Like, like that would have
Can't even
just,
imagine.
I don't even know how she would have handled that. But episode 25, I wrote, this is the only episode I wrote something on. I said, episode 25 was devastating to watch. I love their emotional connection and how he can tell when things are wrong, but never pushes her to answer or go out of her comfort zone. But just like the whole, with everything, with all of that, but obviously the one I'm talking about is Sangyang. But
Mhm.
it's just, that was a lot. That was a lot. I
25,
feel like
episode 25 was a
they should
lot.
put a trigger warning on that. I really
Yeah.
feel, because that was too
I
much.
felt emotionally drained after episode 25.
It's not
The
fun.
acting here is impeccable by this female lead. Zhang Nan did such a good job as, Yifan. Absolutely. And then us going into episode 26, and episode 26 is This Time I Won't Break Promise. And the first thing I have down is the fact that she runs away to Hong Kong. And she registers her name as Sung at the hotel.
Oh, that was crazy.
It's adorable. It's adorable because even if she's running away, she kind of doesn't want to be parted by him.
Yeah,
And the fact that this man keeps looking for her, even though it's almost like looking for a needle in a haystack at this point. And I love the fact that it's Chow Chow, so the bestie and her boyfriend that finds Yifan. And Yifan at this point is just like accepting. She's just accepting it now. And she's like, they found me anyways. And it's her realizing that there's no point in running. Her family will come for her, regardless
exactly.
of like where she's at. And I love that she sends a message to her rapist, I'll make sure you're punished. And then she calls Sangyan. And I'm like, I'm here for this. I need this reunion to happen like yesteryear. Um, so yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Um, Episode 27 is titled I Accept My Imperfections. Now, I just want to get your opinions on this because a lot of people didn't think, they thought that Sangyan forgave her too quickly. What are your thoughts about this?
I don't
Well,
think so.
yeah, I don't think so either because I think he was always going to forgive her because he understands that it's actually bigger than him. But also, we're not privy to the conversation they have on the phone, so we don't know like what was said between them when she called him to tell him
Hmm.
everything. So maybe that all
Yeah.
happened there and we just don't get to witness it.
That's
you know?
true. Yeah, because like, with the point of view that the viewers have, we might have not seen something or heard something. I definitely think that no matter what, he was going to forgive her, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously she's going to call, he's going to answer no matter what and be like, I'm on a plane right now. Let's go. I'll find you.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they had ended thing or if she had left on like a bad note, like maybe it would have taken a little bit longer for like, him to forget, but they left on just they were on good terms. She just was trying to protect him, and I think he
Hmm.
realizes that.
Yeah. I have I agree. I think ultimately he understood why she did it, and he even says to her, "Thank you for protecting you. You protected you. Thank you for that." And I'm like, that's kind of what it is. And he says episode 27, it was because of him. He made me feel like I don't deserve good things and like he could take it all away at any moment. So this is what she's been feeling like constantly since this happened.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's his fault. You don't have to carry this alone. Understand? You disappearing without a word was what really destroyed my world. Understand? I love you so much. So that's what Sangyan says. And I think he really needed to say that because he needs Yifan to understand that the only person that can truly hurt Sangyan is her. That's the only person that can truly cut deep to him. Um, so yeah, I loved that quote and them getting back together.
I love the
You know.
the wee moment, like because they sort of when he first arrives, she's in the middle of her dance show, and then when they
Mm,
first see each other afterwards, and then there's a whole bunch of people there, and he kind of pulls her around the corner behind the door, and then he
Yeah.
like just motions
they
to her to
hug.
like come
Yeah.
and give me a cuddle, and then they
I
just
just need
have
a
the
hug.
big and it's just the look on his face too. It's the like, oh come on, I've waited for this, like
I just need this
oh
hug. I just
yeah.
need this hug.
Just a recharge, a quick recharge, honestly.
Mm.
Aw.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So episode 28,
Things
I
get
wrote down,
crazy.
yeah, things get crazy. Episode 28 is titled I Want a Second Chance If There's One. I wrote episode 28, this aunt is vermin. Her daughter-in-law almost gets raped and she tells her not to call the police. But daughter-in-law is smart and videos aunt and uncle talking about killing a girl and raping others. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
you
murder
go,
now.
girl.
I was not expecting. I'm telling you right now. I've been watching the show. I'm like, wow, like there's no murder in it. That's so nice that there's no murder right
Chuck a
away.
murder in
I'm
there.
like, are you kidding me? There's gonna be a murder trial. But at the same time, it was also like, thank God. I need this guy to die. I mean, not to die. I need him to get a
Well, he
punishment.
does die because he
Well,
gets sentenced
yeah,
to death.
absolutely. But I'm saying I need this man to be punished for everything he's done. And the fact that he killed someone, come on. My goodness, what a
Mhm.
terrible person.
Because
And covered it up. So
But at
she's
least it also means
yeah.
like the aunt
well said.
eventually got what she deserved too.
They
Well, they
both
That was
both
got what
very
they
went down
deserve.
satisfying.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so happy to see them both go down for it.
But
So
like
happy to see them both go down for it.
it's so interesting to think of her point of view because, like, she is pulled to the police station to kind of do her job on this story about her
Mm-hmm.
past aggressor. And, she's very good at talking to the girl about it because I mean the girl's not going to talk to anyone and she's like I've been here before. I know exactly how you're feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
understand
Mm-hmm.
if you don't. And then she opens up to her about it. And that's just crazy, but also just I have to imagine so freeing for her to like like just finally get the
Mm-hmm.
like closure that she needs with like obviously having him be convicted and being put to death and like having him be at that trial. I think that's in the next episode, but like he's at the trial, he's like, yeah, I did this. And I don't think does he apologize? I think he does apologize. So
I think he
or
does.
and he's still put to death, which thank goodness. But I was not expecting a murder, Liliana. I was literally like, are you kidding me? That's like my one thing. I'm like, every time I watch a drama, there's a random murder. It doesn't matter. It
Just
just is
chucked it in there.
it's always thrown in and it always surprises me and it's okay. I've learned it by now, but
I
I'm
I will say I
four
wasn't expecting
episodes
a murder
left.
either. I was
Four
expecting
episodes
like
left.
yeah, I was expecting a couple of other victims, I will say, because
Yeah.
somebody who's this despicable wouldn't have done it to just one person. But I was not expecting a murder. And the fact that the aunt helped cover it up, which
The
makes
fact
it
they
even
showed
worse.
it, they
Yeah,
showed it
yeah,
with
yeah.
her having the shovel and being like, I'm here to help you. You killed a girl? What? You're an enabler. What do you mean he killed someone? Like, he's a terror.
The
I'm just
fact
so
it
glad
makes
they
it
got their just
I
desserts.
think it makes the aunt even worse because she knows what this man is capable of, and
And
yet
she still
she's just
doesn't protect.
letting, yeah,
Yeah.
she still
Like,
doesn't protect Ethan. I'm like, what the actual hell?
years
What
and
the
years
actual
later,
hell?
she's just like, oh, he wouldn't kill someone again. He wouldn't do that. Not again. I already covered for him one time. I hate them. I wish them the worst,
Ugh,
and I'm so glad
terrible.
we got to see it. I'm so glad we got to see them convicted.
I
Do you
think she
know
was just going to prison, but yeah, he's sent it because I believe, oh gosh, it's really late. So I'm hoping my brain's not like making me go down the wrong path. But I do believe the death penalty is still alive and strong in China. I think I'm not sure. So I think yeah, I think he got sentenced to death. Which thank goodness he does not deserve to live. You were going to say something, Laura?
what was I going to say? I can't. Must have been a lie.
What time is it by
No,
you guys right now? I need to know. Is it almost 3 a.m.?
two. No, it was
No,
two. 10 to
almost
two.
two.
Oh,
Yeah,
two.
10 to
Okay.
2.
I'm like, because that's crazy. Okay. Almost two. That's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
late.
we're almost done anyways. We're gonna go through the last couple of episodes and then we're almost done. Episode 28, we're still talking about that one.
Well, just the
Episode
fact, I think
28
we need to maybe mention that Sang Yan fights him
gets
outside the
stabbed.
office and
Yeah,
yeah gets
gets
stabbed
stabbed.
and like but then he's like can you just not be mad at me because like I finally did it
Stop.
Oh
I
yeah,
finally caught
yeah,
the guy
yeah.
that like
Well,
yeah
because the
What?
guy was on the
What?
run before he was
yeah
Yeah,
even convicted. And I was like, please don't let him get stabbed. Please don't let him get stabbed. And I was
and
so
boom, he
stressed
gets
out.
stabbed.
But then they're like, oh, it's just a small, like, it wasn't that, and I'm like, okay, at least thank goodness. Because, like, I can't. Can you imagine if she lost him?
Yeah, no, no,
I would
no.
never recommend this drama.
I would have quit watching it straight away.
yeah
But
that would have
Just
I have
been
not it
faith.
for
I
me.
mean, this is the writer that did Hidden Love and When I Fly
True.
Towards You. Like I had no doubts that she was going to give us some happy goodness. So I do have that right down. I put down them at the hospital and I really liked Sang Yan's dialogue mentioning that yes, she was wrong, but he could have put down his pride and had the courage to talk to her and not hold on to a grudge. I really like that. And he says to her, this time I protected you. I never even noticed the pain you kept buried so deep down. Can you be happy for me? I did this time. I did it this time. I put that villain behind bars. And I'm like, oh,
Oh.
because he knows the full story and he knows that he was there for her, but he wasn't because he didn't know what was going on. And it's not like he might have not been able to do much back then, being a kid himself and whatnot. But it's just like him saying to her, this time I protected you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I love this. I love this. And then in the post credits, we get to see that fight scene and Sangyan saying, I finally caught the shadow that haunted you. This is good. From now on, your world will only have light. And I'm like, dear Lord, take the wheel. Because this is
Poetry. Poetry.
this is just like I can't even. I can't even. Yeah, Sangyan. This is just like yeah. So we're on to like the last couple of episodes and episode 29 is titled Love Means Being Each Other's Light. I don't have that much for episode 29, actually. I think I just have today. Who says this? It's her. So episode 29, it's when they both get convicted. And
Yeah.
she says in the courtroom, she says, today it finally ends. It's time to leave it behind. And it's her saying goodbye to her younger self in the courtroom after the people are punished. That's where she leaves it. She buries it and she's walking away from it. And I adored it. Adored
Yeah.
it because she can finally breathe. It's almost like she can finally breathe and move on. And then we have the classic line of, tell me, were you sent by my dad to look after me? And he says, no, I
I
volunteered.
volunteered.
I volunteered. Oh,
Oh,
amazing.
I can't. So yeah, and then episode 30, it's titled Relying, Trusting You in Weakness, Chosen by You Firmly. And I have one of my favorite scenes in this episode. And it's one that it says, so basically this is the big showdown between
Oh my
her
God.
fan and her mother. And
Yeah.
I was living for this scene because she says, it's you. You made me feel bad and not believe myself. Why is it that a mother that should love a child the most doesn't love me at all? I said I absolutely I love this interaction from Yifan, saying everything she needed to her mother, and her mother confessing that her husband is now cheating on her. And I
She was
wrote karma is a
manipulating
bitch.
her. She was manipulating her because she saw her start to be like, no, you were not a good mother. And she's like, well, my husband is cheating
Is
on me.
cheating on it.
And
Yeah.
we were waiting because she started to go back and it looked like she was gonna sit back down because her mother had just ordered her a birthday cake. Because of course this
Hmm.
was on her birthday. And she still stands, and that's when she says those lines, and she's like, no, like you were the reason. Like all these terrible things happened, but you were the reason why, like, all of, oh gosh. No, I agree. That scene was so powerful.
Yeah.
And then even after everything happened and she's like walking away with the male lead and everything, and she's like, you
Hmm.
can see she sees her mom, and her mom is walking away just like really dejected, and it's
Hmm.
hitting her. This is the one person in her bloodline that, like, she had kind of a bigger connection with, and she just like finally cut ties and told her how she really feels, and like she's never going to see her again. And she
Hmm.
starts to get a little emotional, and he's over here like, what are your wishes? Like, what are your birthday wishes?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he starts to do them all. Like when he's like, she's like, I wanna go on your back or whatever. He's like, you want a
Yeah.
piggyback ride? Like,
Hmm.
your wish is
And
my
then
command, my queen.
But
Like,
then she says to him, like, you're the only person in this world that loves me. And then
yeah.
he says, like, oh, he says, like, what does he say? Hold on. I wish that other than me, there will be many more people who love you. Oh, that just got
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh
Beautiful.
my
It's adorable.
gosh.
And
Yeah.
I will say, just before that, I think like her parting words to her mother are just like the final nail in the coffin because her final words to her mum are, for all these years, you've not cared for me. So from now on, just treat me as from now on, just treat this daughter as if she had been killed by Chingda, which is the uncle. So
That
she's
night.
like,
Yeah.
it's not like you cared for me. So as from now on, I am dead to you. This is it. And I love the cinematography that they used here where her mother is walking in one direction. It's her past, it's dead. And she's walking in the other direction towards Sangyan, which is her future. And I'm like, I loved that scene and how beautifully it was done. I loved the wishes line. It's just so good.
It's so good.
Um and yeah, I really liked so the second male lead visiting the second female. So the besties, the he visits her family's life, like place, house, and it's like it's really funny. I like that place, but they visit where his parents died. like the whole family visit where his parents died, and I really liked that little scene there. So yeah, I think the only other thing I have for episode 30 is their kiss after they come back from her dance
Oh,
performance. Because
yeah. Do you
goodness,
know?
that kiss.
All I've written about that is, yeah, leave the light off.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree. I loved that. That was a freaking fire of a kiss
Hmm.
scene. Um, although I will say I wish she would have been in like normal clothes because this bloody polka dot
Oh,
ballerina dress
Okay.
was
yeah.
not
I
great.
liked the ballerina dress cut, but the polka dots, like why
It was
weren't the
just so
gems
dumb.
more like pretty? I was looking at it and I'm like, it just kind of looks like I don't even know. I
Do you
don't
know, that's my one thing about her as a character that I've found a bit cringe, right? Is I think the dancer thing is an important character trait, but I just didn't buy her as a dancer at
No,
all. I just
Yeah.
didn't buy her as a dancer. I don't know why.
no,
It
I
just didn't quite
agree.
land for me that.
Mm. I feel like we skipped over a small part. It's really minuscule. But like the fact that the one thing I did like when she ran away is she did decide to do something she loved. Like, yeah, she was in poor home
Mm,
Hmm.
circumstances.
Hmm.
And yeah, she was in not a good job, but she decided to go work at that university as a dancer. And she finally was like, you could see she was getting her happiness back little by little.
hmm.
And that was really nice. I really enjoyed that she finally chose herself for the first time after running away. But that was like way long ago. So back to, I think we're on episode 31.
Yeah, episode 31 is titled Loving You from the First Day Till Forever. And I'm like, oh, oh, I love it. Um, this is the episode where Sangyan takes Yifan to his parents' house for New Year's, and she marvels at what parents should be like, caring, loving, supportive. I also love the conversation with Sangzi, how the heartbreak from the past ultimately also changed Sangyan. So yeah, I love that. Sangyan's mother giving red packages and handing one to
Oh,
She gets included. Yeah.
yeah,
that was
she
so
gives one to
sweet.
Sangzi, one to Sangyan, and then one to Ifan. And she very confusedly asks, I get one? And her mother says, of course, from now on, you're part of the family. And she's just so happy. And she says, being part of their family, feeling their love, feeling their warmth feels so good. And you hear this in like a what's the word, like narration style over the top of the scene, and it's just beautiful. And then the line of only a home like this could raise someone like you, proud, confident, passionate like the sun. And I'm like,
So good.
oh, this is so good. And it truly shows the difference of what a loving family can do to, sometimes it's nature, sometimes it's nurture, but more often than not, it's a combination of both. And yeah, this is like perfect example. I also put down for episode 31 her finding the tin with the tickets to see that, like all the trips that he went to see her,
Oh my
and that fact
gosh.
that he was always there for her without her realizing. All her news articles, everything, they're all in that tin, and that's why he treasures it so much. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with myself anymore because this is like the moment she truly realizes how loved she is by him, I think.
The flashback, I think, in that episode was when she was looking at cakes and he was like, she didn't know he was there. Like he was
Mm-hmm,
always kind of,
mm-hmm.
but then he saw her looking at the cake and went inside because it was her birthday or something, or that I don't even know. But he came in and he was just like, can you tell her she won this cake and you're doing this like store special? And all she needs to do
Yeah.
is take a picture and post it. And the lady's like, "What?" But then she goes and does it because, like, he knows her so well. Immediately, when the lady comes up and is like, "Here, ma'am, this cake," she's like, "No, thank you." Like, no, even though she wants it, she's like, "No, no, 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 I don't want that." And she's like, "No, no,
I'm
it's
not
fine.
taking this from a
Just,
stranger.
just take a picture of it. It's a promotion." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And like, you can see that, like, because I think that was a hard day for her too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you know, and then she gets that cake. So he's like always there trying to make her day better. And it's just, it's so beautiful.
It is. It is. Let's wrap this up, guys. Let's talk about the last episode and then just last thoughts and wrap up this episode. So, episode 32 is titled "I Want Someone Who Is Fierce and Will Love Me Till Death." It's you. So this is one of my quibbles, is episode 32, because did we really need all the flashbacks put into a montage
No,
scene
we did
and added to
not.
the episode? Because I don't think we did.
I
I
didn't
don't think we did.
understand. Like, I mean, how many minutes of flashbacks were there? I want to say 10 to 10 if I'm being
It must
like
have
there were
been 10 to
so
15 at
many.
least.
And
At
that one
But
way it
least.
was already a shorter episode too, so like it took up
Exactly.
quite a
yeah,
big percentage of the episode.
I
I
felt like,
agree.
yeah, that's one of my big things. I felt like they were trying to stretch it out a little bit. I do like the proposal. I think the proposal is really, really beautiful. And I wrote down that he wrote down this is a dancing doll orchid because to me you look like a fluttering butterfly. You always shine. I want you to fly free forever. I want, like I said, to give you wings and destroy all your pain. I will catch you when Shangjing. I'll make you a promise. After you marry me, all your wishes will come true. You know what I want to say, right? Marry me. And I'm like, oh, this is such a
It was
beautiful, beautiful,
it was
beautiful
so
proposal. And
beautiful.
the fact that he puts the ring inside like her little ballerina box, it's
Hmm.
just like icing on the cake. And for me, the very last note that I have on this whole drama is because to me, I think this is the perfect thing to end on. It says later on, Sangyan said he picked this ring with a bow because we're each other's most precious gift. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
It was so
Oh,
good. The scene
Okay,
on
but
the
like,
staircase killed me. Like with the flash, like as that's the only flashback I needed to see was the
oh, when
scene
we
on the staircase when like,
oh my God, yes.
they were
When he,
imitating
yeah,
like when they first met, and then we also get to see the flashback of him like the first time he saw her, he wanted to get her attention, and so he's like, give me your basketball for a second, I'm gonna pretend to be this like really cool guy. I was
yeah.
like, why is he like dribbling a basketball on a staircase? What a loser. But like, right, he did that. He got her attention. She asked where the class was, and that was how they started their whole everything. So seeing them repeat that as adults was so beautiful. That's what inspired me to make like an edit yesterday. I was like, I need to
no,
make this right now. This is so good.
Yeah.
But I'm so sorry, Laura. What were you gonna say?
no. I don't know if I want to now because I feel like maybe this is going to be a bit of a negative Nelly thing, right? So before I say it, can I just say I'm fully subscribed to get on board with the fantasy, right? So it's fine. I can totally ignore this. But one tiny thing about the proposal. How did he get her to fall asleep so he could get changed? Like, did he drug her? Like, what's the situation? Like,
They were
that's
having
the
a
only bit that, like, slightly, I was like,
I
that's
was also
convenient.
confused. Like
Very
I think
convenient.
they were just trying to like maybe recreate one of their scenes when they were younger and like took a little snooze. And then he was just like, "Quick, throw me my jacket. Quick,
Like,
let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's
how
get
did
this
he know
going."
she was going to fall asleep? That's the only time
I
where I was
don't
like,
know.
But
Maybe he
no,
just knows her
honestly,
that well. Maybe he just knows her that well.
she was
I'm willing to go along with
relaxed.
it. I'm fine. It's cool. Like, the proposal was nice. I enjoyed it. But, like, that was the only thing that I was like, okay.
No,
Oh,
you're right. You
guys.
are completely right.
This drama was everything. I'm just hoping we get more dramas like really good dramas like this. I loved it throughout. And yes, I did have a couple of niggly things, but overall, this is such a beautiful drama. And yeah, I feel a little bit sad now that we've talked everything that we needed to. And this is like to me, usually when I review a drama, that's when I put them to sleep, so to speak. That's it. That's my last of it. So, guys, have you got any last thoughts before we wrap up the episode? Anything at all?
I don't even know. I truly this was a lot darker than I expected, but
Yeah.
I think that it needed, like, I mean, with the intensity and all the flashbacks and everything that happened, I mean, he was there for her through it all. So definitely, it was a very beautifully well done drama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll always recommend it. I will always warn about trigger warnings though, because the
Yeah.
first episode is a bit of a scare.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
watch that, I was like, excuse me, what is going on? But it's definitely about, her finding her true self and finding people that really love her and want to be in her world. And it's her also accepting that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
such a beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's like at its heart, although it has darkness and it has trauma and it has all of that stuff, it is kind of about unconditional love, you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
know? Like the characters who are healthy and good are characters who have been loved unconditionally,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then they can go on to help to heal the ones who need a bit of help,
Yeah.
I just think there's something quite magical about that. And yes, there's darkness, but the light moments because of that, I think are so beautiful, you know.
I
I
agree.
agree. I agree. And I think that's a perfect place to end it. Guys, thank you so much for taking up so much time and coming and reviewing this drama with me. I'm glad we decided to do two parts because there's no way this is like almost a 4 hour episode. So it definitely needs to be two parts. Thank you so much for joining me. Becky, where can people find you?
Oh gosh. You can find me on TikTok at Don't Sue Rebecca, and my Instagram is also that. So I've been posting there as well.
What about you, Laura? Where can people go and find you?
I'm mainly just on TikTok, so you can find me at C_drama_mama if you want to hear more of my nonsense.
I will make sure to link those in the episode notes. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this mega review, this deep dive. This one is definitely a deep dive into the first frost, and we shall catch you next time. Bye.